Welcome back. The Associated Press has called Wisconsin's hotly contested Senate race Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin winning a third term. Baldwin defeated Republican millionaire businessman Eric Hovde, who was making his second run for Senate, having previously lost in the 2012 Republican primary. Baldwin was first elected to the Senate in 2012. And despite this win, Republicans have seized control of the U.S. Senate by flipping Democratic held seats in Ohio and West Virginia. North Central College political professor Stephen Caliendo joining us now to discuss Tuesday's election results. Good to see you again. You were here with us last night. We appreciate all the time you spent with us.
It was great to be with you last night. I'm glad we got a little bit of rest anyway.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about this. When was the last time a party held control of both the White House and the Chamber of Congress?
It happens occasionally for like 2-year stints, and I guess we'll see in this case. We don't know what's going to happen in the House exactly yet, but if the Republicans are able to hold control of the House, they've gained control of the Senate. We may see, midterm elections, presidents' parties typically lose seats. But Sylvia, this is all because Americans typically like some sort of checks and balances built in. I won't go so far as to say that we like gridlock, but we generally don't like to give complete unchecked power to our leaders. In this case, though, and there was really an overwhelming sense last night. President Trump may win the popular vote when it's all said and done. He certainly looks like he's on track to do that. This was a clear mandate for the kind of policies that he's enacting and/or the approaches that President Trump takes.
And the president-elect has made a lot of promises saying he could end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours. He wants mass deportations, removing taxes on tips and Social Security. How quickly do you think we're actually going to see him making these changes that he's promised? And, everybody cares about the economy, and I think they're going to be watching closely as a result.
I think the things that he can do quickly, he will do very quickly. I think he's not going to have a lot of hurdles in the U.S. Congress to get things done. He got tax cuts done fairly quickly in his first term, mostly for wealthy folks, but he got tax cuts through. And of course, when he had the opportunity to appoint Supreme Court justices who would overturn Roe versus Wade, he did that. But remember, there were a lot of promises he made in 2016. He was going to lock up Hillary Clinton. He was going to build this big wall on the Mexican border. He was going to make Mexico pay for it. He didn't do most of that stuff. So I don't know how much of what he said during the campaign he actually wanted to do, actually will want to do, and actually can do, just in terms of logistics. But he's not going to have a lot standing in his way, and he's going to put people around him who are very much in favor of the things that he wants to do. That's exactly what happened in the first term. He sort of surrounded himself. He had a vice president who was kind of a typical Republican, establishment people. I don't think any of those folks are going to make their way into this White House. These are all going to be people who agree with him so that he can get done what he wants to do.
Okay, let's talk about the criminal charges against him. Will those all be dropped now? Is this over?
I think so. I think for the most part, it's going to be difficult. He can't. Yeah, he can dismiss Jack Smith. He can sort of make the Florida, the Mar-a-Lago case go away, but he can't really do much about the state charges. The one that's sitting in Georgia, of course, has been a sort of a mess for a while because of what happened with the district attorney there. He's been convicted, of course, on 34 felonies and is awaiting sentencing in the New York case. But I never thought that the judge there was going to send him to prison for that, although he certainly could do that. But it may be that there's so many constitutional questions about what can happen to a sitting president or a president-elect that this all gets delayed, appealed, or dismissed, and we don't even have any reconciliation of that in the next 4 years. So I can't imagine Donald Trump being held accountable for any of the things that he's been indicted for.
Okay, Professor Stephen Caliendo, thank you so much. Get some rest. We appreciate your time.
You too, Sylvia. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's